You ever have one of those days where you realize the people in charge aren't nearly as smart or as untouchably as they think? Well, let me tell you about the time a bossy HOA president tried to make my life hell over a beat-up wooden boat, and how she ended up handing me the keys to the kingdom without even realizing it. I'm not exaggerating. This was the day a tyrant fell, and a community finally remembered what neighborly meant. The story starts when I moved back to Maple Bay after my dad passed away. He always dreamed of retiring by the water, building something that would last beyond him. And now that he was gone, it was just me and the memories and a battered old sailboat named Juniper we built together over 3 long, glue-splattered summers. You should have seen her. Paint faded, brass dulled by the sun, but every inch was pure memory. I parked Juniper at my dock, right where Dad always pictured she'd rest, figuring the biggest challenge ahead would be fixing her up and finding peace. Turns out, peace is the last thing you get when your neighborhood is run by someone like Eleanor Bishop, president of the Pine Harbor Homeowners Association. I knew her reputation before I ever met her. Think high school principal meets small-town sheriff, only with more rules and less sense of humor. First week living there, I get a welcome letter from Eleanor herself. All flowery words until the fine print. All watercraft must adhere to Section 19B of the Pine Harbor Regulations. I shrugged it off. How bad could it be? 3 days later, I found out. Came home from the hardware store, sun still warm on my back, and there was a deep scratch running down Juniper's hull, straight through the name we'd painted together. Next to it, glued on with what must have been half a tube of industrial adhesive, was an official violation notice. Non compliant vessel. Remove within 7 days. The kicker? The notice was dated 2 days earlier. Someone had come onto my property, marked my dad's boat like a gang sign, and tried to make it look like I'd been ignoring the rules. I stared at that scratch a long time, running my hand over the rough groove. That wasn't just vandalism. That was a message. You're not wanted here. But see, what Eleanor didn't know was that I grew up being taught to fight fair, but never let a bully push you out of your own home. So I did my homework, read every line of the HOA bylaws, looked up property records, even dug through a box of Dad's old paperwork to see if there was anything useful. The more I read, the clearer it became. This wasn't about boats. It was about power. And Eleanor was used to everyone rolling over when she barked. The first HOA meeting I attended was straight out of a sitcom. Beige walls, terrible coffee, residents who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else, and Eleanor at the front, gavel in hand, calling the meeting to order like she was presiding over the Supreme Court. I came prepared, khakis, polo shirt, folder with every document I could find. As soon as new business hit the agenda, Eleanor locked eyes with me. "We have a watercraft violation to discuss," she announced. Suddenly my boat was on the projector close-up photos, the works like evidence in a trial. I tried to speak, to tell them about the memories tied up in that boat, about Dad, about my plan to restore her. But Eleanor cut me off, voice syrupy sweet. "Property values, Mr. Carter. Sentiment doesn't pay the bills." I wanted to scream. Instead, I let her run her show, watched her convince the board to vote for a $300 monthly marina maintenance fee, targeting any boat that didn't fit the community aesthetic. You could see the relief on some faces, the regret on others, but everyone kept quiet. That's how bullies work. Make enough noise, and folks start to believe you speak for everyone. A week later, cops showed up on my doorstep. Officer Riley and Officer More Nice Enough guys, just doing their job, said they'd gotten a report of illegal commercial marina activity. I nearly laughed. Riley just rolled his eyes. "Line. We have to check." They took photos, asked a few questions, and before leaving, Riley slipped me a card. "Document everything. These HOA feuds can get ugly." It wasn't just about me anymore. Eleanor was dragging in law enforcement, turning neighbors against each other, all because she thought rules mattered more than people. That night, flipping through Dad's files, I stumbled on a worn envelope labeled Important Dock Rights. Inside was a document I'd never seen, a perpetual easement agreement, signed years ago by the original developer. Legal language, but the meaning was clear. My property controlled the only access to the Pine Harbor Marina. My hand was shaking as I read it again and again. If I played this right, I could change everything. I took my find to Charlotte Hayes, the sharpest real estate attorney in the county. She read it, then smiled. Eleanor's got no idea what she's up against. If you buy the marina, you control the lake. The twist? The marina owner, Ed Poole, was looking to sell. Within a week, thanks to a quick loan and Charlotte's hustle, I owned the entire Marina Slips store and, more importantly, the fate of the HOA's prized waterfront. Now, here's where it gets cinematic. Eleanor, oblivious, spent the next 3 weeks bragging about cleaning up the community, even featured Juniper's photo in the HOA newsletter as a warning to others. She planned the annual Pine Harbor Festival like it was her coronation ribbons, awards, speeches, the works. On festival morning, the marina gates were locked, new signs up, access by membership only. See marina management. Families who'd boated there for years suddenly couldn't get to the water. Eleanor marched over, tried every trick she had, but for the first time, the locks weren't hers to open. Charlotte arrived with a thick envelope official notice that Maple Shore Holdings LLC, me, now owned the marina, and that HOA board members could apply for membership like everyone else. Eleanor read it on the festival stage, voice trembling. People started whispering. That was the moment Pine Harbor changed. I took the mic, announced new community rates, special deals for seniors, free launches for kids, and a hefty disruption fee for anyone caught harassing their neighbors or misusing HOA power. Applause broke out. Even Officer Riley, in plain clothes, joined in. A vote of no confidence ousted Eleanor by sundown. Turns out, she'd been alienating people for years, but nobody wanted to be the first to stand up. A month later, Eleanor's house sold to a young family with a giant yellow kayak that would have driven her nuts. The new HOA president is a retired firefighter who runs meetings like Backyard BB short, friendly, and neighborly. The marina? It's thriving. I hired my neighbor George as dockmaster, started a boat repair workshop, even hosted a kids' fishing derby that brought the whole neighborhood together for the first time in years. Juniper, scratch and all, still sits on my dock. Some evenings, I sit with a cold drink, watching the sunset turn the water orange, thinking about Dad, about how Bully's biggest mistake is thinking everyone else will stay silent forever. Eleanor tried to rule by fear. In the end, she reminded us all why we came to Maple Bay in the first Placido, be part of something real. So, let me ask you, when's the last time you stood up for yourself or your neighbors? Have you faced your own Eleanor? Drop your story below. I read every single comment. And I know I'm not the only one with scars from a community gone wrong. And if you're ever in Maple Bay, come find me and Juniper down at the marina for sunset sails on me. May your lakes be free, your neighbors be kind, and your HOA never forget that rules were meant to serve people, not the other way around.